All right, go ahead, Ron.
Hubert felt like a big sequence in the second half when Caleb had the chase down offensive rebound that led to the Henry dunk during the run. What do those plays do as far as momentum, getting the crowd into it, getting your guys into it?
Yeah, I thought we got off to a good start in the second half. You know, we talked about the things that we were doing in the first half that we needed to improve. I felt like in the first half there was maybe a 4 or 5 minute stretch that I thought we were playing well. Other than that, we just didn't have any rhythm from an offensive standpoint. Their pressure and intensity on the defensive end was more than our will and want to on the offensive end, and so we were struggling getting any type of rhythm offensively. And then, Caleb making those plays. I thought also another big play was the first play out of the second half, because going into halftime, Henry only had one shot, had 0 points, and I felt like that one got him going and into the game. So I thought those were huge. A couple plays that really were good for us in the second half.
Michael and Noah.
Coach, it seemed like the lineup with Kyan, Derek, and Jonathan in the backcourt really sparked that run in the second half. What do you like about how those three guys complement each other and what they did to give you guys that run?
Yeah, one of the things against, Florida State that just really good defensively. They get a lot of steals, deflections. They've got length, versatility, athleticism. And so in order to run any type of offense, you need multiple ball handlers, guys that can make plays, get us into our offense. And so, when you had, multiple guys out there that could do that, that helped us offensively get into our sets, get to our spots, and be able to get the shots that we wanted.
Noah, then Beckett.
Along the lines of what Rod said, it feels like whenever Caleb does something energy-wise for you guys, the good things follow, not just what he does and then the sequence after. Do you get that sense too? And how do you see the team sort of respond after Caleb gets one of those energizing plays?
No, I agree with you. His personality and his game personality just lights up the room. Whether it's a steal, a rebound, a dunk, it just ignites us. He has that type of effect on this team and the crowd, and we feed off of that. And so just the plays that he makes, there's plays that only he can make. And had another great game tonight.
Beckett, then Andrew.
I think Henry, Jonathan, a few of the guys have said if they get the open three, they're going to take it. But in a game like this where they're not finding anything, like how do you temper or adjust that mindset without discouraging them?
No, not at all. I don't discourage them at all. If it's an open three, I want you to not only take it one step further, I want you to make it. I do. It's a huge part of our offense. Obviously, we have an advantage with, Henry and Caleb around the basket. Not just their ability to score, but also be able to pass. But so much attention is on them for us offensively to be the best that we can be. We're going to have to consistently knock down shots from three-point range. I don't think we shot a great percentage tonight, but I thought we had timely threes that really helped us, and that was huge for us.
Andrew, then Shelby.
Same for the first half as well? You were pleased with most of the threes you got in the first half?
Yeah, and I felt like we passed up some. You just can't be hesitant. You got to be a confident player, and if you're open, knock it down. And I felt like at the beginning of the game we settled for threes, because we said we wanted to dominate points in the paint through post penetration and offensive rebounding. And I felt like our first 10 possessions, 7 of them were threes. And so we started to get into the paint, and that generated better threes in the second half, and I felt like we were able to knock down those.
Kyan, 5, got to be pretty good to see him have several of those fall down tonight.
Yeah, he's a really good shooter, and my conversations with him are those are good shots, and I want him to continue to take it. Want him to be confident in his shot, and I felt like he was. And even in the second half, there were a couple of where he missed, and then he came out and he came right back in and knocked down a couple. And so, we always talk about how do you react and how do you respond, and the way that he responded out there was huge for us.
Shelby, then Alexander.
We were just talking with Caleb about a lot of the film study that he did over a break. It sounds like, at least he was telling us he went back and he watched all his
He watches a ton of film. He's a
Yeah.
student, yeah.
I'm curious just with him, like, going back and, again, he said he watched all of the games. Was that some sort of, like, break homework assignment? And then if not, or maybe if so, what does that just say about kind of his, work ethic?
No, it is. You know, one of the things that, we talk about is having a professional mindset. And, it's not, what do you do to put yourself in a position to be successful? It's not just what you do in a game. It's, what do you do at practice? What do you do before and after practice? How do you take care of your body? What kind of film study do you do? And Caleb is somebody that I've never seen a freshman do this on his own. I mean, he gets the tapes. He probably already has tape of SMU and probably has already watched games of them. I mean, he's just always in a position of listening and learning. And when you have that type of person that is that talented, that's pretty good.
Great catch.
Turnover.
No.
It was a loose ball.
He's a kicker. Alexander and Pat.
Kickers are good. What was on kickers?
Hands.
Okay.
Hubert, you were talking about the attention that Henry and Caleb kind of garner in the paint. Their slow starts have been a bit of a trend this season. Sort of, how did you see the transition from the first to the second half, sort of running the offense through the post? How did y'all try to adjust a little bit there?
Well, I mean, they're going to have a lot of attention, and so and also Florida State does a really good job of disguising what kind of defense that they're in. They play man, they play zone. They'll trap, three-quarter court, full court. They'll switch. They'll blue it, which means trap it. They'll do a number of different things. And so I felt like it took us time to find a rhythm of what they were doing compared to what we needed to do out there on the floor. Also, they change defensively when they have their big guys in. They play ball screens differently than when they go small with Wiggins at the 5. And so just being able to get used to that, understand it, and handle it, I felt like we got better and better throughout the game.
Pat and Spencer.
Hubert, going off that, would speak about Henry and Caleb on the floor at the same time. You coached a lot of basketball, played a lot of basketball. How much of a just weapon is that becoming? And how much does it unlock the rest of what you do?
It's a huge weapon. I mean, it is on both ends of the floor. I mean, defensively, we have the ability to, do switching where, they can guard guards out on the perimeter. Their length is real. I think, somebody asked me a question earlier today in regards to our, field goal percentage defense. And, I referenced that when I played, like, the number one thing that I struggle the most is going up against guys with length. And we have length, not just those two, but, Jaren at the 3, our positional length, Luka 6'6", 6'7", Jonathan Powell. But those two specifically defensively and being able to get rebounds. And then on the offensive end, I mean, it's not just their scoring. I mean, it's the versatility around the rim, on the perimeter. And then you have your 6'10", quote-unquote, 4-man have 6 assists. So, they're playmakers. We ran that play with that ball screen action with the 5 and the 4. Ran against Ohio State and ran it again tonight. And so, ball screens with your 4 and 5, man, is pretty unique, and those guys are able to handle it.
Last two, Spencer and Aaron.
Yeah, Hubert, you guys so far this season have been playing at a relatively slower pace, and Florida State comes in tonight playing at a ridiculously fast pace. Seth just said in there that you guys are trying to get out and run in transition. 11 points from turnovers tonight, and then 20 fast break points. Is that something you guys are trying to push and unlock
100%.
with Seth back?
100%. Before Seth was back, 100%. Like, I feel like our best way to score is in primary break, which is, the first 6-7 seconds of a possession. But it all starts defensively and rebounding the basketball. And if we can do that, we can get out and run. Obviously, with Seth back, his ability to get out in transition, you talk about the effect like that Caleb has, when he makes plays. There's just the effect that Seth has when he's out on the break, just pulls guys along, and everybody's running and trying to get involved. And so it's a huge emphasis for us offensively. It's something that we've got to get better at, and it's something that we want to continue and improve and be consistent the remainder of the season.
Last one, Aaron.
Florida State ranks among the national leaders in three-point attempts and three-pointers made per game. They had a lot tonight when they were penetrating to kick and pass out. Curious kind of how you thought you guys handled that defensively, and maybe how that challenged you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we knew they were going to shoot a lot of threes. There's a couple things that we talked about is, not over-helping, because I think sometimes they would get into the lane to generate a three as opposed to trying to score around the rim, which would be difficult against our length. And so there were times that I felt like we overhelped, which opened up threes, and then just the threes off of offensive rebounds. You know, those are the ones where you feel like you got to stop, and we didn't get a finish, and they were able to get an offensive rebound. I think they got one off a free throw, kicked it out for a three. Those are the ones that really hurt you. And when you go up against a team that have multiple guys that can make multiple threes in a game, it's really scary. And it's a really good team and extremely well coached.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
They also forced 17 and a half turnovers, and we had 8.